Yep. Let's roll.
Happy New Year. Good afternoon and welcome to the Recreation Board of Trustees regular meeting for January 10, 2020. As we do before each meeting, we would like to take a moment of silence to remember all our servicemen, both past and present, who have served or are still serving and fighting for this great country of ours. Also, let's remember all our Barefoot Bay residents, past and present. We will follow this with a pledge of allegiance led by Steve Diana. Now let's have a moment of silence, please. Steve?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Steve. Now have the roll call, Steve.
Certainly, Mr. Chairman. Trustee Klosky, are you here?
Present.
Trustee Henderson, are you here? Yes. Trustee Wheaton, are you here? Present. Trustee Loveland, are you here? Yes. Trustee Diana is here as well. Also in attendance today, we have Trustee-elect Compton and Mano. We have our community manager, John Coffey, our district clerk, Stephanie Brown, managers that I saw present, Rich Armington from Resident Relations, Ernie Cruz, our PGA Golf Pro, Matt Getz from Property Services. I did not see our district, our food and beverage manager. Mr. Chairman, we do, I'm sorry, we have Katie Jacobus with us, Cliff Reppinger from our General Counsel. And Cliff, I'm going to ask you to introduce Katie Jacobus.
Thank you, Mr. Diana. We have the unique pleasure of having the Honorable Judge Katie Jacobus with us today to do the swearing in of the trustee-elects. And for those of you who do not know, Judge Jacobus is a member of one of the most well-respected legal families in Brevard County. Her father-in-law served as one of the most distinguished judges in Brevard County history as both a circuit court and district court judge. It just happens to be my favorite judge of all time until now. But Katie Jacobus is extremely accomplished and distinguished in her own right. She is a graduate of Satellite High School. Locally, she attended and graduated from the University of South Florida and Florida Coastal School of Law. She began her career with the Office of the State Attorney in Brevard County as a criminal prosecutor. In 2006, she went on to work for a prominent criminal defense firm and then returned to the State Attorney's Office in 2012, practicing in the juvenile division. In 2016, she began practicing in her own law firm, Jacobus Law, with her husband, who is here today and who happens to be a former law partner of mine, Kurt Jacobus, who's also an extremely talented practitioner as well, and an all-around great person. Yes. Judge Jacobus is a past president of the Young Lawyers Division of Brevard County Bar Association and currently a member of both the Florida Bar and the Brevard County Bar Association. She is presently a board member of the National Veterans Homeless Support. Both Judge Jacobus and Kurt have been active in the March of Dimes, including being chairpersons for the Signature Chef's Dinner in 2013. And Judge Jacobus was elected to the county court bench in 2018. And she does all of these things while being an exceptional wife and mother to Kurt and their 2 small children, Jackson and Charlie. However, I happen to be aware that she has to use her arrest warrant power every now and again just to keep everyone in line, including Kurt. Just kidding, of course. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to the Honorable Judge Katie Jacobus.
Thank you, Mr. Reverend, and thank you.
Mr. Chairman, with that, we do have a quorum, and Mr. Chairman, I do have one couple of short words here. Mr. Chairman, fellow trustees, it's been a pleasure working with you for the betterment of Barefoot Bay. This is soon to be ex-trustee Diana signing off for now.
Thank you, Steve. With the old trustees, these are the things we're going to do here. The approval of minutes for December the 2nd and the 6th. December 2nd would be the FY21 budget kickoff town hall meeting, and December 6th is the regular Board of Trustees meeting. I'd like to have you guys make a motion to accept both of them at the same time.
I make a motion to accept both of the reports.
Luann Henderson made a motion. Mr. Whedon seconded. Any correction, any discussion on the motion? If none, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Next is the Treasury report. Mr. Loveland, would you be so kind as to do it?
This is the Treasury report for January 10th, 2020. Cash balances in general fund as of 12/31/2019. Petty cash, $2,500. MB&T operating account, $3,304,473.36. SBA reserve account, $692,849.73. Total cash balances in general fund, $3,999,823.09. Total daily deposits and assessments received for periods 11/26 through 12/31/2019. Daily deposits, $199,104.73. Assessments received, $1,108,161.21. Total deposits received, $1,307,265.94. Expenditures over $5,000 for period 11/26 through 12/31/2019. Florida Power and Light, $7,121.82. Seaman Tree Service, $8,900. U.S. Food, $7,297.87. Westco Turf, $32,332.24. ABM Landscape and Turf Services, $38,691.16. Florida Mutual Insurance Trust, $36,668.25. Milestone Professional Services, that was our audit, $5,880. Rossway Swan Legal Fees, $5,020.13. Card Services Center, $5,120.92. Computer Electrical, $39,872. Health First Health Plans, $24,891.41. SDS, or Special Services. District Services, $13,431.14. TLC Engineering Solutions for the kitchen reno and the shopping center re-roof, $44,531.74. Barefoot Services, $8,750. Florida Power and Light, Electricity, $6,663.97. SDS management fee for 12 through 12/19, $13,431.14. Brevard County Tax Collector, $5,858.72. U.S. Treasury payroll tax pay period ending 11/24, $18,989.37. Paychecks payroll for 11/24, $60,922.50. U.S. Treasury payroll tax for 12/8, $19,176.21. Payroll for 12/8, $61,571.48. Florida Department of revenue sales tax for 11/19, $15,255.34. U.S. Treasury payroll tax 12/22, $18,528.70. Payroll for 12/22, $60,378.12. Total expenditures over $5,000, $559,284.23. I submit the treasurer's report.
Need a motion to approve the treasury report?
I'll make a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
Gwen has made a motion. Second?
I'll second.
Randy, you made a second. All in favor of that motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Next is Mr. Diana and Mr. Whedon. Please step to the podium so you get your presentation. Barefoot Bay Recreation District Board of Trustees, in recognition of Dave Whedon for 2 years of continuous service and outstanding contribution to the Barefoot Bay Recreation District and Gulf community, 2018-2020. Congratulations. Barefoot Bay Recreation District Board of Trustees in recognition of Steve Diana for 4 years of continued service and outstanding contribution to the Barefoot Bay Recreation District and Gulf community, 2016 to 2020. Congratulations.
Yes, it's been a pleasure. It's been a fun ride and everything else. Today, I have to announce that my favorite person and the hardest working person in the Bay, Mr. Amington, just told me that we finalized and bought 12 more properties through the NRP for a total of 21 in 2 years. And the $12,000 it cost us to get the properties before the tax deed sale, we got $8,000 back in our taxes. So I'm looking forward to those 21 properties being put back on our rolls and give you guys more money to spend. Thank you. Rich, it's been my pleasure.
And Dave and Steve, your paychecks will be in, your retirement checks will be coming in every week. I just begin to wonder if I'm going to sign them or not. Thank you very much. Again, thank you, Mr. Whedon, Mr. Diana, for your services. Next is the two trustees. Let trustees please step up to the podium and do the oath of office.
I would like to first thank you for the honor of being able to participate in the swearing in. Mr. Roger Compton, if you could please raise your right hand. I do solemnly swear or affirm
I do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support, protect, and defend the Constitution
that I will support, protect the Constitution
and government of the United States
and government of the United States
and of the state of Florida,
and of the state of Florida,
and I am duly qualified to hold office
and I am duly qualified to hold office
under the Constitution of the state,
under the Constitution of the state,
and that I will well and faithfully perform the duties
and that I will well and faithfully perform the duties
of Barefoot Bay Recreation District Trustee,
of Barefoot Bay Recreational District Trustee,
on which I am now about to enter, so help me God.
on which I'm about to enter, so help me God.
I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
or affirm
or affirm
that I will support, protect, and defend
that I will support, protect, and defend
the Constitution
the Constitution
and the government of the United States
and the government of the United States
and of the state of Florida,
and of the state of Florida,
and that I am duly qualified
and that I am duly qualified
to hold office
to hold office
under the Constitution of the state,
under the Constitution of the state,
and that I will well and faithfully perform
and I will well and faithfully perform
the duties of Barefoot Bay Recreation District Trustee,
the duties of Barefoot Bay Recreational District Trustee,
on which I am now about to enter, so help me
on
God.
which I am now about to enter, so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You may now sit down. Thank you and welcome aboard. Next is the reorganization of the Board of Trustees, the nominations. First is nomination for chairman. Somebody like to make a nomination?
I'd like to nominate Joe Klosky for chairman.
I'll second that nomination.
Any other nominations for chairman? If not, I'll be chairman. Thank you. Appreciate it very much for another year. The next is nomination for first chair.
I nominate Mike Mino for the first chair.
There's second.
I'll second that.
Okay, any other nominations? If not, Mr. Mino, you are first chair.
Thank you.
Nomination for second chair.
I nominate Luann for second chair.
Second.
I'd like to nominate Roger for second chair. I'd like to nominate Roger for second chair.
Okay, so we're gonna have to pass out pass it out. Remember, sign your name and the person you're voting for. Oh, give me one of the papers.
You must clearly indicate who you're voting for, and then you must indicate who the voter is, so we can see on the sheet who has voted for who.
Yeah. Yes.
It must indicate your name on it, who is voting.
But we did that last year too. Yeah.
Vote was 2-3. Luann is the second chair.
Thank you. Now, nomination for secretary. There's not many to go with, only two.
I would nominate Mr. Compton for secretary, please.
I'll second that.
Any other, well, of course, anybody else? Okay. Mr. Compton, you are secretary. And geez, we have a big variety here for treasurer. Who is going to be treasurer?
I'd like to nominate Randy for treasurer.
And I second that.
Okay, Randy, you're second. I mean, you said, listen to me, you're treasurer. Thank you very much. And I guess thank you for nominating me for chairperson, and everybody else, we're going to work as a team this year. And I do want to say that last year, we had a wonderful board, and we did accomplish an awful lot of work, over $1 million in projects, so let's continue going in the right directions. Thank you. First thing on the new agenda for the new year is the appointment of the NRP Subcommittee. John, you want to explain that?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, trustees, residents gathered here and at home. The NRP Subcommittee is comprised of 3 members of the Board of Trustees. Per the BOT rules, it's reappointed each year. The committee selects a chair, and the chair is the one who signs off on purchases of NRP properties before they come to the board. Recommend selection of 3 chairs, Mr. Chairman.
Could you explain that again? You're looking for 3 what now? 3.
Let me back up just for a moment. New folks in the audience. We have a program called Neighborhood Revitalization Program where the district, under certain parameters, can purchase distressed properties, remove the structure, and sell the lot to help stabilize, revitalize neighborhoods. To be able to purchase the properties at the best value, it's near impossible to get pre-approval in a public meeting when the seller can watch the instructions. So prior board established an NRP subcommittee that reviews a list of homes that, if not taken care of in the future, could deteriorate to the point that they need to be purchased. Staff, if they can, one of those homes that they deem one of the worst of the worst, can strike a deal with the homeowner. The chairman of the committee has the authority to authorize the cutting of the check up to $25,000 to buy that property without coming to the board for prior approval. Per the rules of the NRP, once the properties are purchased, it comes back to this board for public confirmation for transparency purposes. So to select a chair of the NRP subcommittee, we have to have 3 trustees appointed to it first. And this subcommittee typically meets twice a year.
Okay. I would nominate as one of the trustees Mr. Loveland, please.
Joe, I would, can we nominate chair at this point? I would nominate Mike Mano as chair of NR.
My apologies, Trustee Loveland. I thought you referred to Mr. Klosky when you said chair. The committee selects their own chair.
Oh, well, I still want to nominate Mike.
Well, I'm not going if I'm not chair. That's it.
I'll nominate Roger Compton.
We got that taken care of, and at the next meeting, I don't know when that's gonna be, I guess in what, March? That'll be determined at that time, when you'll be able to nominate who's gonna be a chair and who's gonna be the second chair. Okay, thank you. Now we have, audience participation, Richard Swatlow, George Baldwin,
Rich Swatlow, 636 Marlin Circle. We have a base song, and at this meeting, we are going to discuss, name the faculties committee. I feel this would be a good time to discuss an idea that's been brought up at past meetings and in the Tatler. Florida is called the Sunshine State. Disney is the happiest place on earth. The Bay could have a slogan that could be put onto our front entrance, hats, shirts, and maybe on our government paperwork. It could be something like, be barefoot all the time. This would be a convenient time to combine the two ideas on one proposal form. I hope you consider this idea when you discuss the facilities contest proposal. My personal opinion, as far as the name the Bay's facility buildings is, it's like the KISS system. Keep it simple. Letters to designate buildings is simple. Giving names to buildings that may not have any meaning to most of us is not. Do not try to fix what is not broken. Thank you.
thank you. George Baldwin.
Hi, George Baldwin, 648 Marlin Circle. I'm the guy who kind of came up with the idea of let's rename the facilities. Barefoot Bay is the largest manufactured home community in the state of Florida. We've got 5,000 homes, 10,000 residents. We've been here for years, and the best we could come up with naming our buildings is A, B, C, D, and so on. So I came up with the idea of let's have a contest when everybody's here, when all the snowbirds are back. So everybody's here, everybody can participate to come up with something more creative than simply A, B, C, and D. So the proposal is the contest would run next month from February 1st to the 1st of March. Submissions for the new names for the A, B, C, D, E buildings, pools 1, 2, and 3, and the new Lakeside Pavilion. Now, to address Roger's concern, submitted names for each building must begin with the letter of the current name. For example, the A building would have to be Aloha or Alpha or something, just so we don't confuse some of the older residents. If it starts with the letter, they ought to know where it is, okay? No facility should be named after anybody who's currently living or dead, okay? We're not going to honor somebody in 25 years from now. Somebody go, who was that? So, names with tropical, Floridian, easy living, native plants, animals, or that type of thing are preferred. Submissions to be made, and I'm still kind of working out the details on how we would do the submissions, but through Barefoot Bay Community on Facebook. Written entry forms would be available at the CVO office with a ballot box there, and perhaps we could put one in the administration building. Once the top 3 most popular names for each facility are determined, they'd be voted on by a poll conducted again in the social media. Facebook Barefoot Community seems to work, and by ballot in the CVO office. The most popular names would be submitted to the Board of Trustees for final consideration, and the board would have the option of voting to accept the proposed names or decide not to make any or all changes as they wish. And then I throw in here, regardless of the board decision, a winner should be chosen from each submission received, and they should get some kind of recognition for it. And I suggested prizes should be determined, something like tickets to a concert or something like that. Well, that's the proposal, and I would hope that we can do something to make the Bay a little bit more up to date. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Catherine Patton?
Good afternoon.
Name and address.
Kathy Patton, 627 Wadelia. So I'm using my antiquated teleprompter today. I am here to express my concerns over decisions being made about where bands and other music performances are being placed at the lounge on the weekends and for special events. The most recent disappointment was on New Year's Eve. A large group of us purchased $10 tickets to sit in the lounge. We expected the band to be set up outside the doors as it was last year. So imagine our surprise and frustration when the band was set up farther away. This meant for our $10 we didn't get to see the band, nor did we get to hear it very well. This was especially difficult for my husband, who wears hearing aids. Why were we not informed that the band's placement before buying tickets? We would not have purchased $10 tickets just to get the extra hat, blowers, and a bit of champagne. The other concern is the weather when music is scheduled outside. Yes, it is hard to predict. For bands that cost more, gambling that the weather will be okay means you stand to lose money. Case in point, Saddle Tramp is a six-piece band played on a Sunday when the weather was quite cool and very windy. There were only about 10 people sitting outside. Even the band asked to change the venue where they were playing and told no. If they had been allowed to change, and this was put out on a Barefoot Bay website, there would have likely have been a larger crowd. Then right before Christmas, TC and SAS played on a Saturday. The weather called for rain, and my friends and I were told on Friday night that the band would be in Building A. However, the band, which they said they wanted to do, set up outside. Again, it was quite cool, and then the rain started. And many of us left early, which means we weren't there to buy drinks. Finally, I heard that if the weather is bad on a Saturday night, the music will be in Building A. But there will be a $5 charge. I hope this is a rumor. Prices have increased on the drinks. $4.25 has gone to $4.50. $6.50 has gone to $6.65. If I have to pay $5 to get in, then I will buy only one drink, or I will choose not to go at all. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Jeannie Osborne?
Jean Osborne, 100 Cherokee Court. I'd like to take this opportunity as a past trustee, way in the past, to thank David Wheaton and Steve Diana for their past service. It's not easy being a trustee, and they labored very hard and long. And I think publicly I would like to acknowledge that and to welcome Mike and Roger and ask that they continue in the same vein. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeannie. Anybody else? This part of audience participation is closed. There is no unfinished business, new business. We have 1, 2, 3 violations, DOR violations. The first DOR violation is DOR 19-000573, 961 Cashew Circle. Anyone present in the audience to represent this property? If none, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, there was a typo on, should be 861. So I'd like to pull that one from this meeting, bring it to the next meeting.
Okay.
If that's okay with General Counsel, is the way to do it, okay?
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, Rich Armington, Resident Relations, HR Manager.
Okay. The next one is DOR violations 19-004730, 890 Pecan Circle. Again, I'd like to ask if anyone in the audience to represent this property. If not, go right ahead, Mr. Armington.
Okay, DOR violation 19-47380, 890 Pecan. Violation Article 3, Section 2, C, unauthorized items. First violation occurred on 4/18/2017. Property found in violation by the Violations Committee on 11/5/2019. DOR has performed 5 follow-ups and 5 pictures have been taken since the first violation. 4 pictures are attached. Staff has signed affidavit of notices and attached 4 pictures. Respondent has been notified by first-class mail, certified mail. Property has been posted. Staff recommends that the BOT refer this violation to General Counsel Reppinger for legal action, equitable or other appropriate action with failure to comply. If the BOT brings any such action to enforce the DOR, the charge for such action shall be charged to the respondent's account and shall constitute as a lien.
Need a motion?
I make a motion to refer this to general counsel.
Anyone made a motion? Need a second?
I'll second that.
Mr. Moreno made a second. Any discussion on this motion?
I do have questions, again, as a new person learning, and I talked to Mr. Armington about this briefly. As I look at these pictures of the different violations that are coming up, some of them look so simple to me, as I talked to Rich about, and yet this one has been going on for like a couple of years now.
Yes.
And it's a simple cleanup problem that someone would have, but it's been going on for a couple of years, and they simply refuse to do this.
Usually, yeah, with the violations that end up here, it comes into probably the 87% of our violations are caused by 12% of the people. And this happens to be one I think General Counsel already has one case on, and he just continues to defy whatever we try to do.
Unfortunate.
Rich, is this the same house that had the big air conditioner outside?
This is it.
Yes.
You can't see that now because of the debris.
Well, they took care of the air conditioning problem.
And again, Mr. Chairman, if I could, just again, trying to learn, you explained a little bit about this, so we're going to approve this and turn it over to legal counsel for whatever happens. And we still, other than putting, we don't fine, but other than putting a lien on the property at some point of a certain amount of dollars, we still have no other authority to make these people clean this up.
This is part of a larger discussion that we will have on the workshop on the 29th about potentially reinstituting or implementing fining. It's a very involved discussion about the history of where we've been, so we can save that extended discussion for the 29th. However, what I will say is there are a number of different mechanisms that have been adopted into the process as we've kind of moved along in time from when we last had fining. One of those processes is an independent self-help resolution that allows staff in certain instances to go onto property and take curative action by removing, particularly in debris cases, debris and junk that are on those properties.
Okay.
That is an available option to staff. However, we have to this point not taken those actions on owner-occupied property. If the property's not occupied, the staff has gone on, taken curative action, and then lien the property. So that is an option. The difference here is that I believe it's owner-occupied property. And so that's why they haven't done that and why they do it on some other cases.
Okay, and we're going to have that discussion later. And that's what I was trying to understand as I was explaining this to someone the other day. And of course, people talk so much about the violations here. So if we, and one final question, so we go and we turn this over to you, and at some point they put a lien on this property, or there's going to be a dollar amount or something. Could happen.
Well, it could have, what generally would happen would be a court order for injunction to try to get them to remove.
To get it, to clean it.
And then enforcement through the court to say you haven't complied with a injunctive relief order that you could potentially be subject to a contempt order for not coming into compliance. That's typically the way.
So it's not simply going to a lien on the home. It goes to court first, and they try to solve the problem.
It's not necessarily a monetary issue as much as it is a compliance issue.
Thank you.
Chairman Klosky, a quick question that I have, and this is a bit of a segue probably off of Trustee Mino's remarks, but we've been sending these to council now for, I don't know, maybe 3 years. I don't know how many we've sent, maybe 40 or 45. We send them to council, and to my knowledge, at least not in any of the meetings I've been to, have we ever received any kind of a report to know what the status is? We don't know if there's been injunctions placed on them. We don't know if they're sitting in limbo. We don't know if there's been any movement at all. So I would request respectfully that that staff, in conjunction with our counselor, with Mr. Reppinger, that in the near future that you come to us and say, okay, here's where we are on these. Here's what we've gained by doing this. I get a feeling sometimes that we're just kind of throwing money down a hole, that we're not getting anything returned. I would like to know what's going on with some of these homes that we've sent to you.
And that's part of what we want to do on the 29th is to kind of give you an overview of where we're at and specifics on the cases that we have. So
okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to answer Roger. Sally and I have been working diligently. We have a list of all the violations that Cliff has, when they were first found in violation, when they were presented to the board, when they went to the attorney. I think at the meeting you'll find it very informative, and it'll give you the information that you're looking for.
Okay, there was a motion made and second. All in favor of that motion, please say aye.
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 Motion passes. Next DOR violation is violation number 1800433, 926 Periwinkle Circle. Is anyone present in the audience to represent this property? Go ahead, Mr.
This is one we don't normally bring before the board because it's parking, and we have remedies. But he's been suspended for over a year and still will not comply. It's a violation of Article 3, Section 3D. First violation occurred 9/24/18. Property was found in violation by the Violations Committee on 1/11/2019. DORs performed 13 follow-ups and 16 pictures have been taken since the first violation. 4 pictures are attached. Staff has signed affidavit of notices and attached 4 pictures. Respondent has been notified by first-class mail, certified mail. Property has been posted. Staff recommends the BOT refer this violation to General Counsel Reppinger for legal action, equitable or other appropriate action with failure to comply. If the BOT brings any such action to enforce the DOR, the charge for such action shall be charged to the respondent's account and shall constitute as a lien.
He's still suspended, privilege is still,
He's suspended for a year right now.
oh, here, yeah. And he still parks on the grass,
And
you know?
continues to park there.
Okay. Board, I need a motion.
I make a motion, this guy's nuts. I make a motion. I mean, really, I make a motion that we send it to General Counsel.
There was a motion made, second.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, any discussion on that motion?
It's just a notation on the memo.
If none,
Like I didn't see the notice.
all in favor of that motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion
Aye.
passes. Thank you.
As long as the notice went to the right place, I think we're okay.
Mr. Chairman, after talking with counsel, he says that only because the memo was wrong, 861, and all the paperwork that was mailed and was posted was the correct address, that we couldn't move forward with this one.
Okay.
861 Cashew, DOR, violation 19-000573. Violation Article 3, Section 11, 2D, exterior maintenance. First violation occurred at 2/12/2019. Property found in violation by the Violations Committee on 4/12/2019. DORs performed 12 follow-ups and 9 pictures have been taken since the first violation. Staff has signed affidavit of notices and attached 4 pictures. Respondent has been notified by first-class mail, certified mail, and property has been posted. Staff recommends that the BOT refer this violation to General Counsel Reppinger for legal action, equitable or other appropriate action with failure to comply. If the BOT brings any such action to enforce the DOR, the charge for such action shall be charged to the respondent's account and shall constitute as a lien.
Okay, board, I need a motion.
So move.
Hello?
And I'll second.
Okay.
Can I say, is somebody living there?
Yes?
And what exactly again, trying to understand, what exactly do we ask them to do in this particular case? Do you know?
We asked them to fix all the damage that's done to the home.
The siding is that?
The siding, you can see the fascia. You look on the other side, you'll see the more fascia is all torn up. His first response was, "Why don't you just buy it from me?" So I gave him an amount that I would buy it for, and he said no. And he just says he can't fix it.
Oh, okay.
Rich, has this been turned over to CVO to look into to see if it's a helping hands type of matter?
I'm not, you know what, at this point, I'm going to say I don't think he's been informed of the helping hands. I don't know for sure, but usually one of the DOR inspectors will say that they've referred him to the CVO.
Okay.
In other words, he doesn't care.
Excuse me?
In other words, he don't care.
He doesn't care about.
Well then. Okay, any other discussion on that motion? If none, all in favor of that motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is the selection of the RFP Evaluation Committee member for beach prefabricated restroom procurement. John?
Mr. Chairman, trustees, residents gathered here and at home, the FY20 approved budget contains funding for installation of a restroom at our beach. Estimated cost is $95,700. Our policy manual requires anything estimated over $50,000 to be sent out in a formal RFP. Policy manual goes on to state that the membership of the evaluation committee should consist of 3 voting members, one trustee selected by the board of trustees, a user department employee, this case would be Matt Getz, property services manager, and a non-employee resident selected by myself, plus the chairman and myself are non-voting members. This RFP will, quote, hit the street next Monday and close on the 13th of February, with the opening scheduled on February 17th, with a follow-up meeting scheduled on the 25th, with estimated back to you for award of contract for March 14th. The one thing, just for edification of the community, this does not mean restrooms will start going in April or May, because this is for a prefabbed unit, and once we have the prefabbed unit selected, then we will work on getting the septic system put in. Not all prefabbed units are designed the same, so that's why you would select the prefab unit first. I've requested self-nominations or volunteers. Jeff Gruneau, who served on evaluation committee in the past, has volunteered again, and so he will be my selection along with Mr. Getz. Therefore, Mr. Chairman, we need a member of the board selected for the voting member, and then I will do the due diligence of announcing in a summary fashion what I just said.
I'm looking for someone.
I'd nominate Mr. Compton.
Mr. Compton? Okay. Roger, you're the one on the RFP.
This is going to start interfering with my golf game.
It's not going to interfere with mine.
I'm going to do it.
Okay, I need a second on that.
Roger, do you want to do it? Because I want to do it.
Then I'll defer
By all
to
means.
Trustee Henderson then.
I withdraw that nomination.
So,
I'll
you
second
second
it.
Okay, you want to be on it? Okay.
Yes, I do.
I'll second Luann's nomination.
Okay, so all in favor of that motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Good luck.
Can I ask a question on that also? So you're going to have 5-member team, and you do not vote. Mr. Klosky does not vote. You do not vote. Mr. Getz votes, and the BOT member votes, and this person from the community votes. And you're going to get RFPs in, and so those 3 will then select the prefabricated model.
They will make a recommendation back to this board.
To the board.
and the
Okay.
board makes a
All right.
final
That's what I was
decision.
trying to get at. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question on that.
Go ahead.
John, is this going to be a wag the dog situation with the septic and are we going to have to go out for an RFP? Because I'm assuming that septic's going to be more than 50 grand too.
I don't believe it will.
Okay.
We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. From my understanding, it's going to be less than the 50,000 because
Okay.
we have a well in there. The issue we have to verify with the health department. The well is capable of being potable water if we were to have it tested on a regular basis. So, we will check with them as we get into the permitting of can it be used as a non-potable water facility, or will they want us to do the required testing for it to be potable water?
Mr. Coffey, is there any issue or potential issue right now with environmental regulations with putting a septic tank in that beach area? Is that
0% problems because that part of southern Brevard on the barrier island is Ms. Henderson may remember the term because we looked into this earlier last year, is Brevard County has prohibited water and sewer being run that far south on the barrier island. So that is a designated well and septic only area.
Any other?
Just a final comment. I would hope that this would not be one of these things that we ever end up delaying because there's so much interest in this project getting done, and it's been in the 5-year plan for a couple of years. So again, that's why I was trying to figure out who exactly votes and approves this, and I would hope it goes as scheduled because it would be appreciated, believe me.
Yes, I agree with. Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor of that? All in favor of Ms. Luann Henderson being on that thing, say aye.
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 Motion passes. Thank you. Next on the agenda is name the facilities contest proposal. John?
I believe Mr. Baldwin summarized his proposal very succinctly. He did mention that he was withdrawing the administration building from that. I was not sure. I was doing some of this over my vacation, a little secret. I not really want to get out, but I shouldn't be saying on TV. But the walking trail technically is named after an individual, Tutu Trail, though the sign is being cleaned right now. That's why it's not up. But staff requests direction from the board if they wish us to pursue this.
What's the board's wishes?
Well, in reading over the facility contest rules, Mr. Chairman, there's a couple of things that I would like to see changed. One is the publication or the poll conducted in the Barefoot Bay community. That is not an exclusive homeowner site or an exclusive resident site, whereas the CVO site is an exclusive homeowner or resident. You have to be a homeowner or a resident with a badge number and an address to belong to that site. That would be the same thing for Speaks Out. It would also be the same thing for our public site, which is open to everyone. So if we're going to put this out there and do any poll driving or any information gathering, I would prefer it be with just Barefoot Bay residents. So we need to figure out a better way or a more cloistered way to make it a resident-sponsored event.
I also have questions about, not about the proposal, whether we do it. I have questions about what the cost would be. Mr. You talked about there might be some cost to changing name signs as a stationaries. I mean, do we have any idea what that would cost? And also, the way, if it's approved and you do this poll, I am just not in favor of doing it on Facebook. And that is not something that I think you're going to, that you do something like this. It could get to be such a mess that, you know.
The issue of the cost of renaming the buildings and signage, it depends. It's the typical government response. It depends on the quality of the signage. When I arrived here 6 years ago, the middle part of the F on the old admin building had rotted off and fallen to the ground. And we had to replace that because we were buying wooden letters from Home Depot for signage at one point in this community. The lettering on the new administration building, those are much more expensive, but there's some grandkids who are being born today who those letters will outlast their livelihood. So the question goes to, if we were to, right now we have just a big A on Building A. If we put, and I'm not a wordsmither, but if we were put some name up there, it goes to the quality of the letter. So it doesn't have to be expensive. It's one of those things that we could absorb the cost if this was what the board wanted us to do, but it's
What
not
about
free.
contracts, agreements, any of those kinds of things that we have there? The buildings are not stipulated in those
No.
that would have to be changed, everything, and those kinds of things?
And furthermore, all our mail is based on geographical sites, like this is 1225, 625 is the admin building. So it's mainly an internal referencing system.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I have got to say, this is in the year that I've been here and in the 5 years that I've lived in here, this is really one of the first times that I've seen a homeowner bring forward something that was a little bit exciting and has a lot of homeowner involvement. I would hate for us to discourage that in any way, because I think it's important that the homeowners take ownership of our community buildings, and they take an ownership, whether it's through naming the facilities or like Mr. Baldwin has proposed, through a contest. So I encourage this. I don't know what we have to do to hone it out to make it fair, make it right, or get it out so everybody has a say. And even after we do that, we're probably gonna have done it not correctly. But I think that it's a positive thing coming forward, and it really feels good to see something positive come forward as opposed to a complaint. These are homeowners that are saying we want to add to what we've already got. So I'm in favor of it, even though I don't have a dog in this fight.
And I agree with my colleague to my right here. I think it's a great idea. It's fun. I mean, that's what the Bay is about, is being a little bit different, being fun, doing some fun things. I mean, it's kind of right in line with what Mr. Swatlow mentioned about coming up with a slogan for the Bay. I mean, all of these things I think are great, and especially when it's the residents who come up with the ideas and they're willing to put the work and the effort into helping us figure out how to do it and to make it successful. So I'm all for it. I think it might need to be tweaked just a little bit as far as how we get there, but I think conceptually, I think it's a great idea.
I also concur. I think it's a good idea to do this. I'm not discouraging at all. I just think the system, the way we do it, has to be looked at a little bit.
I was just a little worried about going on to Facebook, because Facebook is how you're going to get the.
Well, first of all, there are a number of different sites, and I don't go on Facebook. I've never ever discussed things on Facebook, and I won't. But the point is what's that? You don't what?
Please, silence. Thank you.
I think you just have to make sure that all the residents are able to vote on this in some way, and that was my
I would
point.
rather say yes, and I like to say done with something like this, a ballot form like
Something,
this.
whatever,
Yes,
so that everyone has equal opportunity to vote on it. That was my
Figure if they
point.
want, they can come to the admin building, or even if they're to the CV, or have it there and everything, or even over here to the pro shop or whatever they want to do, but stay away from Facebook, and now no voting on the Facebook, and just on this here. We need a ballot.
Well, again, I'm not against Facebook. I'm simply saying there are a lot of people I know who don't go on Facebook even, so
Yeah,
we
I
want to give
understand what you're
everyone an
saying.
opportunity.
I understand what you're
That's
saying,
all.
but let's keep it as a ballot form. So if they think that it'd be good with a ballot form, and I'm willing to go along with that too. Luann? I haven't heard from you, so.
And you know me, I've always got an opinion. Yeah, I think it's a good idea. I was not initially excited about it, but after I hear everybody talking about it, now I'm a little more excited about it. I don't know. It didn't occur to me that we needed that, I guess. I don't know. But I think it's a good idea. But I do think a paper ballot is the way to go, because if we start getting into something online, we're going to be hung out to dry. So I am in favor of it.
So if you're all in favor, I need a form of a motion that'll include that you're going to do it on a paper ballot and everything. Somebody want to make a motion on that?
I think that we need to put the whole thing together to make a motion on, meaning that are we going to let Mr. Baldwin assign a committee that he puts together to come back to the board with what the contest rules are? I think one of the board members maybe should sit with that to kind of help guide that on what they feel might pass the board, and how are we going to put it out there? What is the timeline of it, and what are the specific rules of the contest, along with what are the prizes going to be? So if we could put together something that they could do that quickly,
yes,
then and they could get it in by the next board meeting, then we could probably make a motion.
I did you hear you say that you're one of the board members. Would you be interested?
No, but
I would nominate Trustee Mino to take that project.
Yes. No, I don't have a dog in this fight either. No, I would rather not sit on that committee. No.
You got to point somebody. Please keep me out of it.
I'll be glad to sit with him. This is a fun thing. It'll be enjoyable for the people in the Bay, and I'll be glad to be a part of that.
Okay, so
Thank you,
Mr. Wellman, would you like to make a motion that'll include Roger in there and how you want it done?
Yes, I make a motion that we appoint a subcommittee with Mr. Compton and Mr. Baldwin picking their committee group.
They will do that.
To come back to us by the next board meeting with a proposal for this Name the Facilities contest.
Okay. I do need a second.
And I'll second that.
Okay.
If I could just make a suggestion, the 28th, are you wanting their proposal on the agenda, or you just want a verbal report at the meeting? Because the 28th agenda is, we have next week, we're off Monday, and then Tuesday's the agenda day. So there's 6 business days to get all that done.
February.
Okay, February 14th.
Okay, February 14th.
Valentine's Day.
Yeah, make it for February 14th at that meeting, right?
Yes.
Okay. There was a motion made. Somebody Roger, you seconded?
Wait, can
Okay.
I hear the motion again, please?
Repeat the motion.
I make a motion that we temporarily assign a committee comprised of Mr. Baldwin and Mr. Compton, who can choose their own committee members, to put together the contest rules, the timeline of the contest, and the contest prizes, and present it by the February 14th board meeting, which is also the opening of festival.
Okay. I noticed how you got that snuck in there. That's good. Second?
And I second it.
Okay. Any other discussion on that motion? If none, all in favor of that motion say aye.
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 Motion passes. Thank you very much. Managers report, John.
ARC meeting on the 10th of December, there were 10 consent items approved, 11 other items. 1 was tabled, 10 were approved. The ARC meeting this week, 1 old business approved, 23 consent approved, 11 others, with 1 being tabled and 1 approved with stipulations. Mr. Tom Nelson was elected the new chairman of the committee, and Ms. Melba Lockmondy was elected vice chair. Next meeting is on the 21st. Violations committee meeting today. There were 13 cases on the agenda. 5 came into compliance before. 3 are working with DOR staff, and 5 were found in violation. Interesting facts for December: 38 home sales, 53 new homeowners, and a very tired Santa Claus after visiting everyone. Food and beverage updates: the Pavilion grand opening will be on Wednesday, January 22nd, 4 to 5:30. Brief ceremony, complimentary appetizers, and a cash mini bar will be available. Dance party with TC and SAS, Building A, January 25th. Tickets are on sale now for that. Super Bowl Sunday party is, and I didn't just say what I said, a Super Football Sunday party, February 2nd at the 19th hole. Tickets are $13, includes buffet. Neil Diamond Tribute and Variety Show, February the 21st. Tickets $10, going on sale the 21st. And the festival is fastly approaching. The Friday night kickoff event, tickets are still available. Lounge, 19th hole, admin, and CVO. Flyers are everywhere. Tournament season at the golf course. The Sandy LaBella Memorial Veterans Golf Tournament is January 18th, and an 18-hole CTP tournament is the 28th. The official BBRD song on CD is available for purchase along with other logoed merchandise. Practice green aerification to repair water damage is underway. There is a new portable tire inflation service, meaning if your tire is low, wave somebody down and we'll come out and air up your tire. Lake Bank Restoration Project is scheduled to begin later this month. If you keep the ball in the fairway, it won't interfere with your game. Property services, I will not read everything. They are busy doing a lot of different things. The Veterans Gathering Space flagpole should go in early next week, which will conclude that project. The final concrete pour on miniature golf is scheduled for Wednesday. We've been preparing for the car show on Saturday, the tennis tournament on Saturday, a lot of different things. These will be in the minutes, and if anyone wants to read them individually. A few general updates. The Building A renovation project, which consists of the renovation expansion of the kitchen, the upgrade of the HVAC system, and the completion of electrical infrastructure upgrades. The construction plans are 100% design are in-house, and staff will be preparing an RFP, place it on a future agenda item, probably the February 14th meeting. I'll try my best to get it on the 28th. The shopping center roof replacement construction plans are in. That will replace the pitched roof on 935 with a flat roof, the shingle border all the way around on both buildings, and correct a code issue on 937. Staff respectfully request permission to waive the RFP process on this and seek direct bids from roofers. No disrespect intended. If anyone's a roofer in the audience, I will hide after the meeting, but they like to do work. They don't like to do a lot of paperwork. So we respectfully request that we can waive the RFP process and bring bids back as quickly as possible.
Board?
Do we need a motion on this?
Yes.
If it's not on the agenda, and again, trying to understand how we do this, if it's not on the agenda already, we can simply make motions on things? Is that right?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
There's a rule that if it is a substantial enough item that one of the trustees has concern, that then it can be placed as an agenda item. But you can take, in terms of like motions related to things that aren't substantive enough, you can make
Okay.
motions on those at any time.
Okay. Yeah, I would make such a motion that
Okay.
they be approved.
And I need a second.
I second it.
Okay. Any discussion on that motion? Okay, all in favor of that motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Go ahead, John.
The FY21 to 25 5-year financial model and CIP and accompanying narrative supplement will be delivered to the trustees by the end of next Friday. It will be on our website on the 21st, and free paper copies will be available in the administration building the following day. The board will meet in a workshop on January 30th at 7 p.m. in this building to review that. And lastly, I apologize to Trustee Henderson because I was not, every time I called you this morning, the phone was busy. But I briefed all the other trustees.
You took it out the phone.
So I apologize you hearing this way. But folks who have been here a while will remember Stewart Medical, which owns Sebastian River Medical Center, was interested in leasing the old doctor's office in our shopping center last year. That ultimately fell through on the basis that they wanted something larger. They would like to address the board with a proposal for them to lease land, put in approximately a 2,800 square foot modular medical office that they would rotate doctors through, have a general doctor, an x-ray machine. I have placed in front of you their handouts, which is basically a very concise how much money we're going to spend and all this great stuff. Does not talk about any type of lease terms. I'd spoken with the four of you. There was no consensus on what each of you told me about your preference for a presentation, so I have listed in front of you Thursday, January 30th, in the morning or afternoon, which is the date of the evening 5-year plan workshop. The next Friday in the morning's available. The following Monday the 3rd from 7 to 9's available. Tuesday the 4th, afternoon or evening's available. And the following Tuesday the 11th in this building, the mid to late morning is available. So I respectfully request if you would let me know you want a presentation at a board meeting, a workshop, or a town hall meeting, and if it's a workshop or a town hall meeting, which one of these dates would you like to have it, or would you like me to tell them no thank you?
So, what's the board's wishes?
Well, I think we've got a couple things going on here. One is I think that it should be in the evening, but I think it should be a town hall. While it is board business in making the approval, finalize the approval for this, I think that the homeowners need to have a voice in this because we are using their property to put another facility on. So I would like it to be a town hall so that the homeowners can actually speak directly to Ralph and the Steward Group and get their questions answered directly without it being third party or without it being censored. So if we could do a town hall and invite him to a town hall and let him know that he's going to be speaking with the homeowners, then we can take from there and if we need to do a workshop further, then fine, or if we need to take it to a board meeting, then that would be fine too. But I'd like to.
I would like to see that as soon as possible because the quicker we get it, the quicker they can start setting things up.
But I would like it to be in the evening so that those people that work during the day can't say that we didn't give them an opportunity to be at that. And then, of course, we are going to have people who work evenings, but can't please everybody.
Are you guys all in favor of this? Are you all in favor of this? I don't trust Stewart.
Well,
I don't. I think they're out to get us.
I'm not.
And I also don't want to give up that land, that green space. There's so little green space left here, and I don't want to give it up to them.
Yeah, Trustee Henderson, to answer your question, I'm not at this point a big proponent, but I think we owe it to listen to them and just see what the details and what they're trying to offer.
Well,
I think more importantly, we owe it to the homeowners to listen to them.
Allow the homeowners to give us some
you wanted to know if I
feedback
was
on
in
it
favor of it.
anyway.
I'm not. So, okay.
Okay, Mr. Mino?
I'm a little caught between some things on this. I would like to listen to a presentation, but I'm not sure I want to have it as a town hall meeting where everybody gets up and just, like they did with that waterworks thing when the county came in with that. I mean, I'm not sure you get anything done that. I'd rather hear their proposal, hear all the details, hear all the money, and then make sure we can go out to the homeowners and let them know what we're talking about. But this could just be I'm just not sure about this.
You know, you want to have it as at a Board of Trustees meeting?
That's what I suggested to John when we first talked. I would rather have them make a presentation here and listen to all of this, and then have staff come back and say, this is a recommendation, now let's go out to a town hall and see what the people think.
So if you went that way, I'm not again. If you went that way, they make a short presentation here. It's not gonna give us a lot of detail. Then what you do still have to want to have a workshop. Would you have?
Well, if I was coming in here and I was Stewart Medical and I was going to make a presentation, I think I'd make sure I had all the information in the presentation. I mean, I'm not arguing against it. I'm just simply.
If you're going to be at a Board of Trustees meeting, I'm sure that that presentation is not going to take, say, a couple of minutes. It might be a good to get a good presentation from them. They would have to give you a lot of full detail and everything, which will last maybe about 45 minutes or so. I'm just saying that.
I don't think it should be done at a board meeting. If we're going to do it, let's do it at a workshop or whatever, a general meeting, whatever. But I don't think we need to do it at a board meeting.
Okay, so one is not not to do it at a board meeting. Mr. Minor said probably do it at a. I'm just saying.
I'm not either way. I'm just simply.
You're just giving
an opinion. That's all.
So you're not helping me by which section I'm going to put you on. Okay, we're going to leave you in thing.
One question.
Go ahead.
If we put a new building up, how does it interfere with the park?
Mike, in your name.
Rich Swatlow, 636 Marlin Circle. Since we already had a parking issue with the lounge, if we put additional building up, we have a parking issue with putting a new structure up. Also, this is the land that we're maybe considering in the future as a new construction site. By putting a medical building there, will this interfere with any future construction at that site? But the primary issue right now is parking. Do we have to do a whole new parking issue because we have to provide more spaces? Thank you.
Mr. Coffey, you can answer that. There is not a problem with parking right now, I don't think.
They claim they've spoken with Brevard County, and that Brevard County has indicated there's sufficient parking in the shopping center to accommodate their needs. The proposal that they dropped off that I provided to the trustees indicate that they would be interested in a 5-year lease, and if it was not renewed, they would remove the building. So at some point, if the lease terminates, the building goes away.
Mr. Chairman, this is, for these reasons, the homeowners will have a lot of questions. This is the first revision of a feasibility study. Stewart has not even provided us with enough. There are a lot of questions. There's going to be a lot of questions about, when we get into the minutia of the parking detail, and I'm sure Joy Liddy's not going to be happy if we add a lot more cars over on that side. We already add a lot with the CVO being over there, and then we put another building in, or we put another leaseor in where the old barber shop was, then we could run into a parking problem. However, I do still feel that we need to hear from the homeowners on that green space, because that's the bigger issue here. Is we would be allowing them to put their modular on that green space at a lease cost. And I think that we need to hear from as many homeowners as possible on the use of that.
Jeannie?
I think I would like to see clarified exactly who was requesting this. They're referring to it as Sebastian River Medical Center. That's no longer Sebastian River Medical Center. It's the Stewart Medical Group. And I agree with Luann. This is not necessarily a group I want to do business with. However, if it is the group that is known now more or less as the Shore Medical Group, that's a totally different story. So I think you all have some work to do before you present this to anyone. Find out who's talking, exactly what they want. They're not talking about green space that we were talking about for putting some homes on. And so I think I would like to see you do as Trustee Minor suggested. Bring your facts back to the board, then from the board have a town meeting for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeannie.
Mr. Chairman, and that's exactly what I'm getting at right here. We haven't even had a proposal yet. We don't have anything, any information about it, and we have all these questions, and they don't know anything about it. Why would we go to a town hall meeting where people are going to get up one after another without any information? Have them come and make a presentation to the board.
Mr. Chairman,
Your proposal is right
we do
here,
have a
so-
proposal,
okay,
yes.
good. Go ahead.
I know, but we just got this, just now.
Elaine Vanbershot, 1090 Parkway Lane. Thanks, Jeannie. I am interested in having a town hall, one way or another, at some point. The reference to that public water meeting that we had, the town hall, they actually did accomplish something. They did have a sign-up sheet right there for the residents to get things checked out. I was one of those people. They did contact us and then follow through. So it did accommodate what we were looking to do. So the town hall meeting, I think, is very, very important for the people of the residents of the Bay here. However, and when you guys decide, it's up to you guys, but that town hall meeting is important.
And I agree, a town hall meeting is important, but we have to get the information first so
Well-
we know what we're talking about.
Okay, actually, what do we? We do have the proposal here. They're gonna read the same thing that's in here to us at that time. If we read it ourselves, and then we'll have an idea what's going on, and they'll be here to explain everything. We can ask questions and everything and have the town, but it's gonna be all up to you. I'm just gonna throw it to you. What do you wanna, Rich, what do you wanna do? How you wanna have it? Well, would you have, bring it to the board first and then at town, bring it to a board, then have a little, call it a town hall meeting?
I think it's going to be horse cart, and in this situation, the information that they presented, I don't expect, coming from this background, from the medical background of doing facilities, he's going to have to take it back and forth to the attorney. I would much rather him come, get the questions from the homeowners, get the questions from the board. Then when he has to take it back to the attorneys, it's a one-time shot back to the attorney. I can predict very much, because they're run by corporate attorneys, and it is Stewart Medical Group, by the way. It's not Sebastian. They're a large corporation. They're all the way from Boston down the seaboard. They're huge. They have a group of attorneys up in Cherry Hill that they have to run everything through. So he's going to come. He's going to be able to get our questions, our concerns. He's going to be able to hear from the homeowners the questions and concerns. That 5 people up here representing 9,000, we can't come up with. The homeowners are going to come up and have questions that we're going to go, oh, yeah, we should have asked that. I would much rather open it up, get all the questions up front, then have them come back with a proposal, and then it becomes board business. But until then, right now, it's Bay business, and Bay business means homeowners.
So you want to go and have a town hall meeting?
And one of the things, and we've just got this here at this meeting, one of the things as I look through it, what I see is it looks to me like more of a scope of work of what they've got to do to make this happen. I really don't see anything in there, aside from having a doctor's office here in the Bay, what this does for the Bay. What does the Bay get out of it? They mention that they will pay a lease for the land.
Oh, yes.
I don't know if I don't know what they're talking about as far as what they're willing to pay for the lease or not.
Just
But I
what
want to
you're
know
saying.
what's in it for Barefoot Bay.
Right. You're saying it's the scope of the work, all that
This
stuff.
is
and
what
it's not coming
this
up
is what
to
they've
you.
got to do to make it happen. But
So what's your meeting, a town hall meeting?
I'm fine with that, but I still want information.
I know. Okay, as long as that, Mr. Mino.
No, that's not the way I ever did business like that. I think it's, again, cart before the horse is opposite of what you're talking about. So I would rather have all of this information come to the board at a board meeting. We
Let
decide,
them
we
pre-
may not even want to do anything about it. So
Okay, let them,
that's my
give
opinion.
their presentation at that time, and then we can.
And then have a town hall meeting, and we go out and tell them what we think, and the people can then ask questions about it. But again, I'm just not used to doing business this way.
Okay. Luann? Town hall
I
meeting
think-
first or
yeah,
board?
I think town hall meeting.
Town hall meeting? Okay. Okay, I will go with the majority. So, okay, give me a time, pick out a date here and the time when you want to have it. I know Thursday is the 3rd and January 30th is the daytime. You want to have it at nighttime, am I correct?
Yeah, I think nighttime is better to have it at night.
Okay, so I see the first one would be Monday, February 3rd at Building D&E, 7 to 9 p.m. Then there's Tuesday, February 4th, D&E, anytime between 3 p.m. and 9 p.m. And Tuesday, February 11th, Building D&E, anytime between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. Okay, that's daytime, so you only got 2 shots, February 3rd and 4th. Pick your days, which one?
4th.
The one 4th? How about Mr. Mino?
Whatever's fine.
Okay, I'll put you on 4th.
I'm fine with 4.
Okay.
I'm fine with the 4th, but I would like for somebody from our management team to reach out to them and have them be prepared to bring 2 things back.
Okay,
One, a ballpark of the lease, of what a land lease would look like on their part, and the other would be the facility use, because there's a big difference in putting a doctor's office in and a walk-in clinic.
Okay, I know you all like to have it on the 4th, but I'm pretty sure that after you get it all done, you wish you could celebrate with a 5th. Never mind, it's supposed to be a joke. Okay, the 4th, John. And get staff and do what you got them to be here at
Is
that
that
time.
D&E?
Yes.
The 4th at 7 in D&E, is it?
Yes.
It's at, the 4th is at D&E between 3 p.m. and 9 p.m.
So we're doing it at night. 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock in D&E on the 4th.
And that concludes my report.
Well, Monday, February 3rd is D&E at 7 to 9 p.m., but that's a little too late, so we can do it Tuesday, February 4th, between 3 p.m. and 9 p.m. You are aware that it's 3 p.m. to 9 p.m.? Okay.
Okay, what? Okay, what? When are we having it? Between 3 and 9? We're having it at 3 o'clock?
Yeah, it starts to be...
That's what we're going to do at night.
That would have to be the 3rd then. Okay, it can be any time between 3 and 9, so we can make it at 7. Thank you so much.
On the 4th, right?
Yes, ma'am, on the
Okay.
4th. And that concludes John's thing there. Never mind. Mr. Attorney Reffinger.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Welcome to the new trustees. The one thing I did want to advise on that I had updated last time that the new trustees may not be totally familiar with, but if you've been in the audience, you've heard. We do have an ongoing litigation with a former tenant. It's an eviction case. That's the Blissful Things case. We had filed a complaint. There's a set finite amount of damages in the rent for that particular case. The owner filed a response to our complaint, or I'm sorry, the tenant, the ex-tenant, who vacated the space, filed a response in the complaint alleging a bunch of offsets related to the rent and problems with the space and why she vacated, which we've taken issue with and don't really feel that the response is an accurate response, that really it was just a rent dispute kind of issue, but she's raised a bunch of issues in any event. We served a request for admissions on her. The response, I had anticipated at the last meeting that her response would be due on January 13th. Her response based on the date of service is January 30th. So she has until January 30th to respond to our request for admissions. If she does not respond, and those have been served, so if she does not respond to our request for admissions by the 30th, at that point in time, the allegations on our request will be admitted, which basically is that she owes the rent and that the issues that she has raised in her response are invalid. After the 30th, once that date ticks by, then I can file a motion for a final judgment in that case. So that's the time frame that we're dealing with right now, and so we'll just see what happens. There has not been a response filed yet since the service of the complaint, which was a few weeks, or with the omissions, which was a few weeks ago. I have also reached out to her related to her response to see if there's anything that she wants to propose or say to the district, then there's been absolutely no communication with the respondent. So that is that case. We've talked about, as we talked about the DOR cases, we will have that workshop on the 29th, and at that time we will kind of go over some of the issues related to those cases and the potential implementation of fining and putting that back into the system. What I will tell you is that, part of the, without going into too much great detail about it, part of the issue with regard to the cases is, at the end of the day, litigation is not necessarily the most effective way to deal with these cases. And in part because, as you've seen in some of the cases today, part of what you're asking for is for curative action that is going to require a substantial amount of resources. If you have like a siding case, or if you have like a skirting case or something, and the owner's saying, well, look, I don't have enough money to pay that, or there is no owner because it's an absentee owner, there's not really much to be gained in the litigation because, particularly where there's a owner that you can't serve, you're not really going to get much in relief. So fining is probably a preferable option. And we can talk about the long and sordid history of fining of the district. But what I can tell you is that we have had a dialogue with the council and representatives from Holiday Park. And Holiday Park is the sister recreation district to Barefoot Bay Recreation District, just happens to be located in Brevard County and is a smaller entity than Barefoot Bay, so their issues are a little bit different. But they do utilize a fining system. And they do not litigate their DOR cases. They do not file court cases against to enforce their DOR cases. They utilize the fining system. So part of my thinking on the resolution of these cases and how to move them forward has kind of evolved out of my discussion with Holiday Park and how they're dealing with it. And what I suspect you're going to see on the 29th from me is a proposal to start to come in line with the kind of things that Holiday Park is doing, because I think it's going to be more cost effective. I think you'll get a better result, and I think you'll probably have a bit more control if you're utilizing the fining system. So there is no one size fits all solution to this problem. There is no perfect answer to these problems. A lot of them are a case-by-case basis of things of how you manage it. Some of them are self-help, some of them may be fining, some of them might be litigation. But it's kind of a spectrum of where you're at and how bad the violation is and how egregious it is and how responsive the owner is and those kind of things. So we'll try to kind of put together a plan for, being effective at trying to resolve them, or more effective than we've been on the 29th, and we'll talk about it.
I know you're going to, again, on the 29th, we'll talk about it, but right now, again, to understand it, so if you go to the courts right now, the final judgment would be contempt of court if they didn't comply, something like that, right? If the court took action,
that's a potential resolution. What would happen is, normally you get a final judgment that says so-and-so should bring the property into compliance, which is exactly what the DOR says now.
Right.
And if they don't comply, that the district has the right to go on and do that, which has been utilized in various cases. But again, we have the self-help resolutions that allow us to do that in any event. We just don't do it when we have occupied property. If an owner doesn't comply, and there's been one or two cases that we've gotten to the point where we've actually been threatening to file a contempt order. And in one case that has worked, where the owner actually did bring it into compliance. So I don't know how a court would view that. I don't know that the court would issue contempt. Typically it takes a long process to get to the point where the court is irritated enough that they'll issue a contempt order, but that's a potential resolution at the end.
The question, I guess, as I understand it right now, one of the cases we discussed even today, no matter what you're going to do, the person's not going to comply. So if we went to a fining system and all of a sudden you're fining people, but they're not going to pay the fine anyway. So what I know we're going to talk about this later. I guess maybe it's not the time, but trying to understand.
These are issues that are present in every single kind of compliance, whether it be DOR enforcement or code compliance. If you don't have an owner that's responsible, that realizes that they're governed by a certain set of rules, then they're not. So you just kind of deal with it the best you can and hope that you can get them into compliance.
Yeah. The one thing I would think I would suggest folks remember, if we talk about possibly adding fining, it's another tool in the toolbox. When I first got here, the parking issue, we had a rare case come to the board for parking, because the vast majority of them get resolved because prior boards added a tool to the toolbox of the social membership suspension, and that dramatically decreased the number of people violating. There's still some hardcore folks who just don't care, but every little tool we add helps chip away with the problem.
Anyone else with any?
And that's all I have.
That's all you have. Okay,
Can
thank
I
you.
ask one question?
Go ahead.
Did we reschedule the, I hate to say this, the sunshine law thingy doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna reschedule, yes.
Yeah, we will do that. I don't know when the
I was
preferable
thinking-
time frame was. If it's before the February meeting, I don't.
I
know
wouldn't
if that's
want,
what you wanna do,
I'd
or-
rather not have it on the Tuesday night's meeting. I'd rather have it in the first meeting in February.
Yeah, I may have a conflict on the Tuesday night, on the next Tuesday night meeting as well. So I will let you know if I do have a conflict. I think there's a schedule conflict that I rarely have, but I do on this particular instance. So yeah, if we want to do the Sunshine Law workshop before the February meeting, we can do that. In the meantime, I can tell you, Ms. Henderson, that I have, in the orientation process, gone through with Mr. Compton and Mr. Mano. I've met with them. I've given them a copy of the prior Sunshine Law memorandum, and I would just ask that, we've talked about some of the basics of the Sunshine Law just generally. Read the memorandum. If you have any specific questions prior to the workshop, you can always feel free to call me and ask questions. It's better to ask than to guess. But I think the new trustees have a pretty good foundation of what is required there.
Okay. Thank you. Incidental remarks. Randy.
Well, I just want to welcome Roger and Mike to the board. I look forward to working with them. They're both intelligent, with it kind of guys. I know that, Mike, we're probably tearing into your golf schedule, but
Yes, I'll confer with that, yes.
and but I do want to welcome them, and I hope to get a lot done this year. And thank you for serving.
Roger.
Yeah, I guess I'd like to take a minute to thank those that gave me the honor of being able to serve on the board here for the next couple of years. I'm looking forward to it. I love my community, and it's an honor and a pleasure to sit up here. I'm sincerely looking forward to working with each of these men and ladies up here on this board, and it can't be any harder than the campaign. So I'm ready to go.
Are you done? Okay, Mr. Mino.
Yeah, thank you. First things first, it's M-A-I-N-O, and if you said M-Y-N-O, it's Mino. Everyone has to remember that. Mino, not Mano. It's Mino. But I also am happy to be here. I do have some questions, as you can tell from the meeting. I'm trying to learn about a lot of things, and again, as Randy said, interferes with the golf leagues. You people are just meeting crazy. Wow, I'll tell you, there are more meetings coming up than, I don't know. But I have some questions and things I want to do in the future. I'm looking forward to trying to get a coalition of all the board members to work with me to do some things. There are no real big deals. I have questions about how things get on the agenda and how do we get things on there to talk about. I'm not in favor of somebody just coming and putting it on the agenda by themselves unless there's support from other board members, which happens at board meetings, I believe. I also have questions about the 5-year plan that we're talking about coming up in the future now. There are some things I would like to look at, and I'm not quite sure how we get those things started or get those included in plans. Or
Well, you'll be receiving the hard copies of the 5-year plan this month.
But my question is that 5-year plan, is that something then we work on and adjust, or is that it, or that's it? No.
It's meant to be a starting point.
That's starting
for
point.
the
Very good.
board.
Thank you. That's what I'm interested in. Okay.
Starting point.
And again, the last thing I have, two things. Do we, when a question is asked of the audience, a participation in the audience, an actual question about something, do we, in fact, John, do we respond to them in any way at some point after the meeting? Not in the meeting, after the meeting.
No, not in the meeting. If you want to talk to them after the meeting about that, you can. That'd be just be you and the restaurants.
No, I don't want to. No. I don't talk to him. No, I'm going back again to my experiences where we had public participation, and as a superintendent, I would make notes of it, and I would get back to someone and say, okay, this is how we do this. You had the question at the board. We don't do that now.
Typically not.
Okay, all right, thank you. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
That's it. Okay, thank you. Luann.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to, first of all, thank Steve and Dave, who I'm sure have left, for their fine, outstanding work as trustees. I want to welcome my new cohorts in crime here. The new year is going to bring a variety of new and old problems and projects to be dealt with. With a little luck, we'll all work together and get stuff done. And also, the meeting of the lounge meeting that was scheduled for Wednesday has been changed because one of us has a meeting to go to. Anyway, the workshop has been changed to Tuesday at 9 o'clock at the lounge. Please be there. And that's all I have to say.
That's it?
That's it.
Okay.
Short and to the point today.
Well, I don't have to bring that up because I have it written down here for 9 a.m. Tuesday, but you already brought it up, so I don't need to do that. So next question is, what was I going to talk about? I even forgot myself. Oh, I was going to ask Mr. Reppinger on a certain case here, but I'll hold off on that till the 29th when we have our thing there, unless you want me to ask you the question.
We can, if you want.
Okay, then I'll do it then. Okay. I just want to say thank you to Luann for nominating me for chair again this year, and the rest of them that support me, and everybody that's got their positions here. We're going to work as a team. Well, we got to get along and work as a team and get a lot of projects, which I believe we will. Last year we did an awful lot of projects. We went over $1 million in projects, and everything worked out good. And some are not all completed, but then we have other things we got to do and everything. Second place, I did go with Ernie on the golf course, and as I'm not a golfer, but seeing how the golf course looked, the greens and everything, it's the best I've seen in the winter. This year's the first time, well, I went last year to look at it, even earlier this year, and it's not as great as now. It's very green, and I think that you got to give it to the Ernie and the staff there for doing a great job. And I know there's a lot of people playing golf here, and they really think it's great. And this is our golf course, so let's support it and keep up the good work on that. So all I got to say is I want to thank Ernie for the great job he's doing on the golf course. So that plus I can't think of nothing else. So the only thing I can do right now is ask for a motion to adjourn. Meeting adjourned. Thank you. Thank you. I was going to get back to you. I didn't want to bring your name and thing there, but I just want to say thank you for the night.